All right. So this week, I'm just gonna ask the first question, and I'll go ahead and answer it first, and then we can kind of branch off of, we can just go and answer each question of what you guys thought from this week as well. So
Let's do
the first,
attendance.
oh
Yeah,
yes,
attendance.
attendance.
Attendance. So Lacey
So
Stewart,
Finley Whitman,
Clarissa Sparks, Jody Black,
Anaclet
and
Tavares.
okay, cool, perfect. Yeah, I keep forgetting about that. Okay, so the first question for this week was, what connections can you make between Elder Bednar's principles and the four wings of the dragonfly? Do they promote and reinforce each other? So one thing that I really liked about each of them is that it talked a lot about being clear about what your message is, and not, at least from what I gathered was from each of them, was that it doesn't need to be some long, crazy, elaborate thing for people to feel what your message is, to feel like they want to be a part of what you're talking about. And that's what I liked about both of them. And so I feel like that they do really enforce each other. I feel like that the dragonfly effect talks a lot more about just any type of social media post, anything you want to get anybody involved in. But the dragon, or the Elder Bednar's talked a lot about just flooding the earth with messages about the church, which I think we're in a cool position as marriage and family students, is that we promote both. We promote families and we promote God. And so it's important that we know both sides of that, to help the world understand why they're so important. Who had some of the same thoughts or some different thoughts about those talks this week?
Yes. Elder Bednar invite us to participate, in sweeping the earth like a flood using social media. It is a powerful, talk, and a good reminder of how the Lord is hastening His work, and how, as a member, we can help Him accomplish this marvelous work and or job by sharing the gospel with others and to build His kingdom. Um, while the four wings of dragonfly, illustrate that small action can create big movement. All right. One of the things that I found interesting was that not every post, blog, or message can have a huge impact in other people. All right. Um, we have seen posts with a few hits, and some other posts with millions of hits. And some videos goes viral. Um, it says on the text, to be successful, we must translate our passion into a powerful story and tell it in a way that generates contagious energy. So that our audience reflects on the tweet, blogs, or posts or emails long after they leave their computers. So I personally believe that the passion alone is not sufficient. There must be a lot of creativities and efforts involved. So pretty much, Elder Bernard was talking about gospel principles, how we can share the gospel, and the four wings of dragonfly is more about secular things. We can create blogs to help others with a cancer, with with other issues. So so I think they both promote and reinforce each other in different ways.
Yeah, I guess one of the things that I really liked about it was how Elder Bednar kept the dragonfly effect being kept saying about, like, we can save people's lives and do this and do that with social media and we do it right. And kind of the same thing with Elder Bednar's talk. We can save people's souls is what I thought. Like, those two things were very similar to me, in my opinion, because they're two different goals. One is gospel based, the other one is not. But I think that if you do it right, like the dragonfly effect was saying, then we can promote the same idea, even though they're two different things. But I thought that was, at least that's what I got from it.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with what you guys said too. I like Elder Bednar's steps with being like authentic and consistent and to edify and uplift. I think, you know, the steps that he have really match well with the Dragonfly steps, because you need to have those things in mind if you're going to successfully execute the steps with the Dragonfly. I love Elder Bednar. He just, with his message to things as they really are, that he talked about how he gave before, he just is always so factual, and I think that that's something that we really need to like hone in on when we do things. And what we've kind of talked about in the previous weeks so far is that, you know, we need to have the facts, we need to have things to back up, you know, what we're advocating for. And so I just love every time he talks, he just comes with so many resources. And I mean, the talks from the prophets that were, you know, from like the 1960s and 70s, talking about how technology was going to change, and he just always brings it when he talks, and I just like it because I feel like people just can't argue against that. Like he just, you know, it's like, bam, here it is. Yeah, I'm right.
Yeah. I love Elder Bednar too. He was the president of Ricks College almost 20 years ago when I went there. So I've always felt kind of a connection just awesome from that. But so one thing that I took away from it was within regards to flooding the earth, he in the butterfly, or sorry, he said, but one thing that it said was engaging is about empowering the audience to care enough to want to do something. And I think that's what the gospel is, a gospel of action. It's not enough to just know something, but you have to do it. You have to act on our faith. And so I really found that coinciding with one another. And the other thing was to create a personal connection. And I think that happens naturally with like the things that we're doing in our life, what is affecting us at the time, whether it's parenting or overcoming a certain issue. And if we're on Facebook and just post something that's related to us, then that is creating the personal connection. But what I love about tying that in is LDS.org is like the most amazing thing. There's so many links and memes and all different things and Mormon messages that are so easy to just attach somewhere. And so like when the butterfly effect or dragonfly effect was talking about like the tools and different things, like tweaking the blogs and different things, I thought, wow, we're so lucky because LDS.org has done all of that for us. So all we really have to do is make the personal connection and then go out to our gospel resources and bring it in. So I like how easy it is. That's all.
I think that's awesome. I think you're 100% correct. I think that, you know, the church has given us all these tools. I mean, it's like the scriptures. I mean, you read the scriptures and there's all this great information there, and then you just have to take it and apply it to you and apply and learn how to apply it to other people. And so I think that's a great connection. I think that's a great point too. So I'm going to share about some of the websites and the blogs and the Instagrams and stuff that I looked at. And I looked at a few actually, because once I started looking, I couldn't stop almost. Like I had to keep looking at more because I kept applying it to the dragonfly effect. But anyway, I found some good ones. There's actually a few that I have been following for a while that I just wanted to kind of delve in deeper too. But one of them that I really, so I'm going to talk about one blog and one or two Instagrams, but one blog that I found was, which is a really popular one, Al Fox Caraway. I don't know if you guys have heard of her. The Tattooed Mormon is what she is, her tag or whatever. But she, I looked at her blog, and she promotes just a lot of positivity. She promotes a lot of gospel stuff, which is really good as well. But just positivity and being who you are, and that you are important no matter what your background or whatever is. And so I think I thought that was really cool, and she sends a really good message, and she creates her own beans and things and posts them. And so I feel like I agree strongly with her message. I feel like it's a great message to share, that you don't have to fit into a certain type of mold to be a member of the church or to help or whatever, so I like that. Some strengths she has is that she's funny. She makes you want to keep reading. She makes you want to repost her stuff. And so it's easy to click share and like, oh yeah, this is great information. And she does her research. She's not just going off things. But the one Instagram account that I have, which I think it's a great cause, it's called Lifting Hands Internationally. And it's a girl who helps refugees. She graduated from BYU, and she has a Facebook, I think, too, but her Instagram is she just posts a lot of pictures, which I think is a good thing. She posts really good pictures about her experiences and, you know, the donations she receives and stuff. But the one thing that I didn't agree with, that I don't think fits in with the dragonfly effect or Elder Bednar's talk, was that she can have a tendency to be negative. And instead of promoting her idea where it's like this great thing, like, let's help these refugees, let's get them the supplies they need, these kids are suffering or whatever, I think those are great things. But then she has kind of, like, there's been a couple times where she's posted about somebody who's criticized her work. And she goes, well, this is the ignorance of the blah, 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 blah. And I thought, I'm not going to want to share this. I don't want, you know, I understand you hear bad things and people aren't nice, but I want to know, like, how you're spreading positivity or how you're motivating people to want to go on your Amazon account and look at your shopping list and donate to your cause. And so that's one thing that I didn't think fit in with the dragonfly effect or President Elder Bednar's talk. But otherwise, I feel like these ones were good. Another one, which one of you might talk about, is Fight the New Drug. Advocating against pornography, and I think they do a great job because you want to see what else they're talking about and what merchandise they have. So, did anybody have some great Instagrams or blogs that they want to share?
Well, I just kept it on to Facebook because I don't have Instagram or anything like that. I'm trying to resist. But so I was just looking at I just kind of typed in like advocacy things like in the search engine, like on Facebook. And one that I came up with was kind of cool. It's called Chaco. It's a pit bull rescue and advocacy like page, and it was kind of cool. It kind of did like with what the reading had set up, where they, you know, try to find homes, they take in like things, but when I was looking at like the steps, you know, it does the dragonfly because it's a focus, it's like a specific thing and it grabs your attention. Like they have like profile pics and stories, so I felt like it kind of was using what the steps were in here, where it was like you want to be specific with, you know, what's going on and trying to rehome it. And I just thought that it was interesting because it's something that people all over the world can check and see, like, you know, where dogs need to be rehomed or something, so they can actually like engage or they can donate. So, and on the thing it said to kind of, we could look up any type of, you know, type blog. So I was like, I thought that one was cool, and it has like a lot of people. Like I think it has like almost 300,000 people that have liked the page that follow it. So I was like, that's definitely kind of like one of the micro ones where it doesn't necessarily just or macro ones where it doesn't just necessarily end, because it's ongoing and it's big and there's always new, you know, animals or pit bulls that need to be like rehomed. And you know, it was cool too, because they would post the pictures and their background story and stuff. And another thing that I thought would, you know, that would be like a macro one too, is like the GoFundMe like donation pages, because again, that's kind of like with what we read about this week. People have specific stories, emergencies, life circumstances, and you have to put it out there so that people know what's going on, and the people that are, you know, to get the people that are going to relate to you. And if you can make that connection of somebody that's like, I've had chemo, or my mom has had chemo, or, you know, or, you know, so-and-so's had this surgery, and they make that connection, and then they want to donate, you know, to you because they can relate to you. So I just thought that was another big one. There's a small one. I actually have a friend that does like the Jamberry. I don't know if you guys know what that is, like the nail stuff. And she always, she tries to do things here, like locally. Like she just did one like for Mother's Day. She was working with the Young Women Christians Association. She made little like goodie bags, but she promoted it like on Facebook, and, you know, friends of hers shared it. And if you did like a $15 donation, she was making these little bags to drop off to the women there who are at the shelter and stuff. So I just thought, you know, that's kind of like a smaller one. It was kind of like a one-time thing, but it was definitely, you know, to get people involved and to get out there, and all the commission that she was going to make off of those bags too, she was donating. So it was kind of just a little cool example of how, you know, we as individuals ourselves can start one thing, and with the help of, you know, our friends, we can kind of trickle that effect out and do something positive. So those were the ones that there was some more, but those were the ones that I really liked.
Cool. The ones that I really liked, so I have this friend here in Rexburg, and her name is Rain, and she has this Instagram page that's called Rain for Change, and she just has like, she posts a ton of pictures every day about a different nonprofit organization. So as soon as I knew about this like investigative thing that we had to do, I kind of went to her page, and I found out about so many different cool companies or nonprofit people that are just doing things for great causes. One of them was that, well, I already kind of knew about the Fight the New Drug, about pornography and porn kills love and stuff. So that was one of my favorite blogs. Like, I'm actually one of their fighters. So I love that. But one of the other things that I really liked, it's called the SOW Project. And each of their purchase feeds starving children in need of help around the world. So they sell like shirts, they sell hats and stuff and everything just goes towards children. And like in their Instagram, I noticed that they have like a lot of pictures of kids that are being fed, and just like all of their merchandise and stuff. And I'll show you a little bit of her Instagram as well, because I thought, like, she's been reached out now by so many nonprofit organizations that she can publish them. So I think that that's really cool. And I don't know if you'll even be able to tell, but she has like tons of different merchandise on there from all these different types of organizations. And there she is, like Rain for Change. And I thought that was really cool. And I also looked a lot at the Tattooed Mormon, and one of the posts that I read from her was that I'm not the typical Mormon mom, and I don't have any kids, so I don't like empathize or sympathize with her in that way. But I just thought the one thing that did get to me is that you don't have to fit into the Mormon mold to be the perfect person. You know how everybody's like, oh, you have to stay at home with your kids, you can't be a working mom, or you have to do this or something. And she's like, I am not that mom at all, but I think I'm doing a pretty good job, and something that we don't tell each other enough is you're doing great, and whatever you're doing is good for you and for your family. And I thought that was really cool too. So yeah, those were some of the things that I kind of looked at as well.
Yes.
So, oh, go ahead.
Yep.
Go ahead, Lita.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Okay. So, a little over a year ago, there was a girl in my stake, a 4-year-old little girl who passed away from like complications from a really bad cold that turned into even worse. And her name was Brian, and they have a Facebook page it just kind of started with the mom and dad journaling their feelings and emotions of what happens when you lose a child. And it turned into kind of like a campaign to do good things for others. And their motto is brighten a day. And they did that to say, in honor of our daughter, go out and do something that's going to brighten somebody else's day. And they actually, I think about the dragonfly effect, it talked about taking action, and I thought this was one of from the different ones that I looked at, I thought this was one of the greatest ways to encourage people to take action, because I look at a lot of them and they're like inspiring and things, but this one actually was, they have these little cards that they make up, and if you do something nice, like leave a plate of cookies for a neighbor or something, and honestly, you can put a little, it's like a business card, and it says brighten a day on it, and then it's supposed to be like a pay it forward type thing. And they have given out over 30,000 cards that people have done to brighten a day, and you can get on and get access to those cards and things like that. And so it's kind of like become a movement of just goodness, you know. And not only that, they've started supporting, like almost like sponsoring a family in their grief who have also lost children. And it's just been a really neat thing to follow. And I think obviously because it happened in my state, that's how I heard about it. But that was one that I really enjoyed.
Good, good. So not to contradict what you guys been saying, you know, but to be honest, I'm not a big fan of blogs and posts. You know, that's me personally. You know, I like to express my emotions and not in virtual ways. Since I was like in a teenager, so you know, but it's great. You know, I really appreciate it, and I was actually general authorities have been encourage us to do that. But that's me personally. Some people get attached to it emotionally, post and all the time. That's not my type. That's not my personality. I prefer sit with you, talk to you, see your problem, help you out. That's me. All right. But since I have to do this assignment, I look to a website called Psycho Central. So I visit this website, and it talks about the 5 secrets to a successful long-term relationship or marriage by John Groho. So he explained about those 5 secrets. He mentioned, actually, he named it as a compromise, communication, choose your battle, careful, and don't hide your needs, and don't underestimate the importance of trust and honesty. So I think the communication can fit on the dragonfly effect, the engagement, you know, because by create a personal connection, assessing higher emotions through deep empathy, authenticity, and telling your story. And one of the strengths that I found in this website, it was that it captures some of the core ingredients that are important in relationship. So that's all I have for the blog. I just went to this website and I found this, but like I say, I don't follow blogs, or Twitters, I don't have any of those accounts. So, or even Facebook. Everybody say, why you don't have Facebook? I have my reason why I don't have Facebook. I'm not against Facebook, but I have my reason why I don't use Facebook. So,
and I can understand that.
I don't really like this stuff, but I enjoy looking at it, but like I do not want to post anything. But I'm glad that that's an avenue that other people enjoy, and I'm not going to feel guilt when I read Elder Bednar's thing about flooding it with the earth or things like that. I don't think things are meant in that way, but I don't necessarily feel like we have to do every single thing that's encouraged, because it just, you know, there's a lot. I'm not doing my family history right now, but I'm raising my kids right now, and I read that and I enjoy it, and I see other things, but I don't know if this sounds bad, but I'm just not going to be the type of person that floods the earth with media. It's not going to happen, and I'm totally okay with that.
yeah. What makes me feel like comfortable is that Elder Bednar said he has a Facebook account and another general authority, but the apostle, the prophet doesn't have one, so I'm good. If the apostle didn't create one yet, I'm good too. So
there you go.
I don't feel guilty. So
yeah, and I understand that that there's some very negative parts about technology and stuff, but I think that the point of this this exercise and this lesson this week was the power that your positivity can have on the world.
Yes.
And I really loved that. I loved that the story of I can't say it, Samir, I think his name was, and
The Indian guy.
yeah, Vinay. I'm
Yes.
butchering their names probably, but how, you know, it took just some simple posts, and how that post, like, they put the instructions on how to register yourself, and you know, it was so simple and it was so easy that it was like, oh wow, I don't have to really leave my desk. You know, I can just sit here while I'm scrolling through the computer, click on the link, and they're like, oh, it takes 2 minutes to do this. And I thought, what a powerful way to take action. And if there was, so the whole time I'm reading about all these experiences that people have had and different blogs, and then these talks that we were assigned this week. And I was thinking, well, what's something that I could stand for? What's something that I want to really advocate for in my life that I could post about, that it would make it easy for people to see and click on and share and spread. And I don't think that I've really pinpointed it, or that my idea is necessarily original. But I am a very strong advocate against pornography. And I took last semester, I took the workshop class, the practicum class, and I did my workshop on the dangers of pornography and how to keep it out of your home. And I just thought, man, I could really be better about, posting things about those dangers on my social media pages, about sharing my not experiences or anything, because I don't really have any, but just how dangerous it is. And then I was looking up Fight the New Drug, and how they have all of these great things. They have these memes you can repost. They have these, and they have their program, the Fortify program. And I thought that was really cool. And so, yeah, there are some ways, like, I think it was Jody and Lacey both talked about friends they had, or people in their area that helped promote that. I think there's a lot of that, and that's really good. And I think you can be really original with the things that you do. But I think, too, we need to be aware of the things around us that have kind of created these things so that we could keep sharing them. And they've done such a good job at it that we needed to not be afraid to share some of those things and to put our thoughts about it. It doesn't have to be some elaborate journal entry thought thing that we repost, or that we share on our Facebook pages or Instagrams or whatever they are. But I think that a simple, almost testimony about why you feel so strongly about this can really help somebody, take action, or even just go like the page, so that they're getting their constant feed as well. Did anybody else have some thoughts as they were reading this week about these things?
I just thought that the video that she posted of the guy that was a Facebook philanthropist, that was so funny. Because the Facebook philanthropist guy, and how he was like, just one finger, I just have to lift one finger to help people. But like, he's really not doing something about it. So I thought that was really interesting to think that there was one time that I actually did that I had to post stuff about something that I was very passionate about and whatnot, and I posted things about it, but I wasn't really doing anything. And so I thought that was really interesting, that along with you promoting stuff, you actually have to be doing something to change something about it, because then what good is that going to do? You're just letting people know what's up, but you're not giving them a good example to follow, I guess. So that's something that I thought about as well while I was reading this, that we need to be more active. And yeah, you can do stuff from the comfort of your home, but you actually have to do things outside of it as well. So I thought that was interesting.
One thing that stood out to me was the quote that said, "The fear of failure is worse than failure itself." And I definitely have that when it comes to, I don't know, just maybe interactions with people. I'm a very private, small group type thing, and I think failure or judging, I have a fear, and so that's why I don't put myself out there. But I can in other ways that are more intimate, I guess, in my own little world. But I think fear of failure, I think, can resonate with a lot of people.
Did anybody else have some quotes that stood out to them this week before I share mine?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah, I do, but I was silly and didn't write like who's the one or where I got it from. But I'll just read it to you. I have it pasted here on or copied here on my Word document. But it says people frequently create wildly inaccurate forecasts of what will make them happy because they mistakenly associate happiness with short and shallow rewards, as opposed to long-lasting and deeper rewards. Increasingly, however, research suggests that individuals become consumers with the goal of becoming happy or getting happier, but that they rarely attain the goal through their purchases. I don't remember where that was written, but I thought it was really interesting to know that people actually do associate their happiness with like, oh, I'm going to buy this and I'm going to be happier, or I'm going to do this and I'm going to be happy. And it's that the people who are happy are the ones that are not looking for happiness. So I thought that was really cool, and how that can associate to social media is that sometimes we compare a lot of who we are to what we see on social media. I know that I fall a lot into that category, and I always have to keep reminding myself that life isn't that picture. It's not that picture perfect. And that no matter what we're doing, I guess, is what we do need to be doing, and it's what Heavenly Father wants us to be doing at that time, and not just sitting and scrolling through Instagram and being like, I need to do this or I need to do that and post cool pictures and stuff. But yeah, I thought that was actually a good insight to this whole social media thing as well.
So I actually have an interesting experience, if you guys don't mind me sharing that. It actually happened on this trip my husband and I are taking. He's met a lot of family members that he hasn't, on my side, that he hasn't met yet. And I had experiences with that whole unauthentic type of thing. And I guess this doesn't really have to do with social media, but I think it's important to understand. But anyway, I hadn't mentioned anything about a certain person in my life and their family. And I just wanted him to go in with, an open mind and just love them for what he understood they were. And one day we were at their house, and my husband goes, or I said, oh, I'm going to go to the store. You can just stay here. He's like, oh, no, I want to go with you. I was like, oh, that's weird. Usually he wants to stay here. Anyway, so he gets in the car and he goes, oh. And I was like, what's going on? Why are you so stressed out? And he goes, I just feel like I'm watching a production everywhere I look in this house. He's like, I feel like I'm just looking at something that's not real, that's not genuine. And he goes, and it's exhausting. It's exhausting me as the observer seeing this. And I was like blown away that he even picked that up, because I knew about it, but he picked this up, and I thought, man, people can sense when we're not being genuine, when we're not being real, or when we don't believe in a cause, when we're just kind of posting to post, or posting for an assignment or whatever. People can feel when we're not being genuine. And this isn't to slight this person's family or whatever. That's the way they've chosen to live their life, whatever, that's fine. But how somebody can come in and feel that and see that on the outside without spending more than 24 hours with them, already picked up that that wasn't real. And so I think that it's super important as marriage and family advocates, and all these types of advocates. David A. Bednar's Elder Bednar's quote says, "Authenticity is strengthened through consistency. The gospel messages you share will be accepted more readily if your Christ-like example is evident in ongoing pattern of your posts." So, but it pertains to life and to this experience. But I just thought that was such an interesting comment, and how he observed that so quickly, and how we need to be careful that we are consistent and that we are genuine when we are advocating for whatever we're standing for.
Yes. I want to share two quotes. I believe these two quotes are linked to each other. One is from Elder Bednar and the other one is from Elder Ballard. So Elder Bednar said that technology and social media are not inherently evil. Those who use it to indulge, insult, and idol worship are the problems, not the tools themselves. They can be powerful light if you use it wisely and properly. And Elder Ballard said that the handheld devices should be our servant, not our master. We should have control of these things. All right, we should not let them control us until they get addicted. All right, we get addicted to it. I remember last week I took my son. He's 6 years old. Right? So I took him to ride his dirty bike. So he did something cool. So he came and said, "Daddy, did you see that thing I did? I did something cool in the dirt bike. Did you see?" I said, "Sorry, I didn't see." He said, "You know why? Because you were on the phone. You were on the phone." As a matter of fact, I was texting. So I stop, I ponder, and reflect. I said, "See, even my interact, with my son it should be like this." So, I decided next time when we go ride a bike, I'll leave my phone in the car. I put your dirt bike on the road. Let's go. And, you can do whatever you want. I'm gonna pay attention to what you're doing. I felt really bad. And this quote came out of my mind. We should not be, their servants, but our master. So we should always, focus on the priorities in our lives. Yep.
I agree. I think that it's easy to let technology kind of rule your life. I mean, it used to be you met up with friends on the weekend, and that's when you saw them. That's when you talked to them. You would have a phone call every once in a while. But now you literally, through technology, you have a window into everybody's life. And depending on how much or how little they post, I guess. But you literally have a window into some of these people's lives, and it can be addicting to just sit there and read it all and scroll through. And, and one thing that I get addicted to are those little cooking videos where they make all the stuff. They have the camera, all you see is their hands, and they're making the food. And those can be addicting. You're like, oh wow, I want to go make this right now. But it is important that we remember what we're fighting for, what our purpose is, and to avoid it becoming a vice instead of a tool, because we don't want anything to become masters over us. We need to maintain our agency as far as social media and technology goes. That was a good point.
And I think another big thing that we need to remember is the reality of it all, because we get so caught up with thinking that people have perfect lives. And I don't know if it was from part of the reading this week or if it was just something I read somewhere else this week, but it was talking about the family that had the perfect picture with the kids, but one kid was covering his socks because he wore whatever type of socks in the picture, and the other kid, they had to turn his t-shirt around because he spilt juice on the way to the photo shoot. And so there was they were properly positioned to hide all these things to get this perfect looking photo where you're like, wow, look at their family, they've got it so together, when in reality it's like that's not the case. And so many times we see people on Facebook or whatever that post, we all post ourselves in the, quote unquote best light. You don't want to look bad, but in reality I'm like, that's not life. Like, we're gonna look like a train wreck sometimes, and I think people forget that, and they have unrealistic expectations. So it's definitely a reminder to really be authentic in that manner too. And it's okay. You're not failing. Like it's normal. That's what gets me is people think, oh, you're not normal if you're like that. Something's wrong with you, and it's like, no, that's life. So.
I agree 100%. I think it's important to let people know that you're also relatable. Like you're not some person that they can hold on a pedestal like, oh, this is the ideal life. Like when I've got to this point, I've made it. Like I've arrived at life. But like to be relatable to people that you are, to the people that are following you, that are your friends, because like you said, it's important to remain authentic in that way too. But yeah, I think that's super important because we're not perfect. We're going to have bad days. We're going to have tough things. And more often than not, it's going to be tough, unfortunately. But it's good. It's when we grow. It's when we learn. And I think people can grow and learn from the realness of that aspect of our lives as well. Did anybody have some last thoughts before we stop the broadcast? Or is everybody good? All right. Well, thank you guys for participating. I'm going to go ahead and stop the broadcast.
Wait. I need to do the summary.
Oh, yes. Oh, my gosh. I totally forgot about that. I am so bad. Okay, go ahead.
No, you're fine. Okay, so the main things that I got from this meeting were a lot on that the gospel is a gospel of action, and that we have to focus on positivity. And another thing that I took out from it as well was that we have to keep in our minds the reality of things, that we have to realize that not everybody is that picture perfect way. We did talk a lot about the different blogs or nonprofit organizations or people that we are related to in some way, that we were able to find out about more people to help and how they have been growing their media to help other people that are either suffering the same things that they're suffering or that they're just advocated to that. We talked about sticking to facts, like Elder Bednar said, and I think it was Lacey that said that nobody can fight the facts because they're there and they're solid, and so we just need to stick to that. And also talked, I think it was Anacleto that said, building God's kingdom on earth with a concise message. And even though some people might not be very advocated to technology like Anacleto is, that there's different ways to do it. And I think we spoke about that a little bit more too. We also talked about authenticity. We have to be authentic, and we have to be very active in what we are doing. And the last thing that I wrote is that handheld devices are our servants, not our masters. That we just have to find that balance within our social media and our real life. Okay. So yeah, does anybody have anything else that they want to add? No?
Let's all use our fingers today.
Yeah. I know, lift that finger, give a like, save a life.
That's awesome. All right. Well, thank you, Clarissa, for remembering.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm so spacey. Anyways, all right. I'm going to go ahead and stop the broadcast.
Okay.
Okay.